Guess who forgot to turn their mic on again and filmed a whole video and filmed a few TikToks, none of which I can use now because I forgot my mic. So let's have a conversation. So originally, I was going to do this on familiars, but as I was thinking about it, one, there's not enough info over there to really go over, but we will touch on it. I'll give you a little combination of things, because we're going to talk about contracts, what a magical contract is. And this will probably be a pretty short video because, one, I had to film it again, and two, because I rambled a lot in that first one, and it was very chattery. So first, let's talk about what a magical contract is. A magical contract is when you enter into an agreement with a being. And typically they are spirits, familiars, gods, deities, and things of that nature. Times that we enter into a magical contract is, one, when we are taking on a familiar, which I will get into that. Two, when we summon things and we want them for a specific purpose, which I will also talk about. And three, when we enter into an agreement with a deity or higher power of that nature, which I will also get into. So let's talk about familiars first. A familiar is not your pet. Not in a literal sense. Like, none of my cats are going to be my familiars. My dog is not going to be my familiar. My lizard is not going to be my familiar. Because you know what a familiar is? A familiar is a spirit entity that you enter into an agreement with, that is going to help you with all your little magical juju, whatever you want to call it. Because everybody uses a different name. So what a familiar is a being that has chosen you. You do not pick them. You don't go to the familiar pet store and pick out your familiar. Your familiar picks you. And if you don't have a familiar, that's okay. Because guess what? Familiars aren't for people that are starting out, that are new to it. Because a familiar is something that you earn through practice and research and education and experience. Kind of like needing to be old enough to learn how to drive and things of that nature. It is a privilege that you are gifted with and not something that you just take or decide for yourself. So that is what a familiar is. It is not fluffy. It is some little hobgoblin that has decided that it likes you and it wants to help you with your work. Not literally. Do not be careful what you are entering into agreement with. We'll get into that. So let's talk about summoning things, because those two things go hand in hand. Don't summon things, because you know what summoning is? Summoning is forcing an entity to manifest in your presence so you can make it do something for you. Now, that isn't a request. That isn't you asking, hey, you want to come help me out? No, that is literally yanking that thing from wherever it was and putting it in a little trap and being like, hey, you're going to do this for me. We call that slavery. So, here's the thing about summoning. Summoning is very dangerous because if you do not do it correctly, and sometimes even if you do it correctly, you are going to piss that thing off that you called up. And it's not a matter of if it gets free. It's a matter of when it gets free. And it's going to be angry. And it's going to be angry at you. And frankly, sometimes summoning things just isn't worth the juice is not worth the squeeze on that. Like the risk involved and what you're asking for, because let's face it, most of the time when somebody's summoning something, they're summoning it for selfish reasons. And that is going to backfire on you and blow up in your face. So we're not going to summon things because guess what? That is some higher level practitioner stuff. And most of you aren't that. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to get there. But what I am saying is you do not have the experience to handle whatever it is you summoned if and when it gets loose. And furthermore, like, even if, let's say you do summon it and you do it correctly and you get what you want and you go to send it back, guess what? That thing is going to remember you. It is going to remember you. And let's say somebody else summons it that doesn't know what they're doing and that thing gets loose, guess what? That thing remembers you. So we are not going to be summoning stuff. I don't know why that is a trend. I don't know if it is our egos getting the better of us, but yeah, we're not going to summon stuff. And just to be clear, I'm running out of time because I did not delete all those videos first, so this will be a very short video. But let's hit our last note real quick. Entering into an agreement with a deity. Agreements with deities is kind of like the whole priesthood concept. You are taking a vow, you are entering into an agreement with the deity to work for them. Think of it like a job for the magical. And guess what? You also have to show up for work to get paid. So, always honor your contracts if you're going to go into one, especially for a higher being. Because if you renege on your contract, there are consequences for that. So yeah, make sure if you are entering into a magical contract that you are upholding your end of the bargain. Because if you don't, there are negative recourse for that. What they are, I do not know, because it all varies on what deity it is, what the agreement is. My personal suggestion, if you want something, just go ask for it. Don't enter contracts. Don't enter into agreements. Just go ask for it. If you get it, great. If you don't, it's whatever. Obviously, it wasn't meant to be. But don't try to force things and don't think you're going to wiggle out of that contract. Honor your contracts or don't make them at all. And as always, I hope y'all like this video. I'm sorry that it's so short and I'm sorry that it's very rushed and all that, but I still wanted to get something out for you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. By the way, we are on the TikTok now, and we are on the Instagram now. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. If you want to drop comments, feel free to do so. If you like this video, hit my like. If you like the channel, hit subscribe. Unless you've already done that, in which case I love you guys. But yeah. Anytime you want to reach out to me, want to recommend something, I'm always open. The DMs are always open. And I hope y'all have a wonderful night.